Today, we want all our listeners and viewers to understand the importance of postpartum nutrition. Is it safe for mothers to focus on weight loss?
You should focus on healing and recovery. You'd wake up maybe at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock feeling really hungry. Now, at that point, you can go a little haywire, and that doesn't mean overeating.
At one point, I told my mom, you need to stop feeding me what you're feeding me, because she was just like doing a lot of carb. What are the supplements that a postpartum woman has to take?
Iron, B12, vitamin D, calcium. Just recently, we had a blood report come in for someone who was postpartum. Their iron and ferritin levels had gone over. Oh, that could be dangerous.
So, in continuation to our postpartum series, right? We wanted to dedicate a whole episode to nutrition because I, as a mom, and you as a mom and a nutrition coach, we know how important it is to ensure we're eating right, not overeating and all of that, right?
Yeah.
And I think with my personal journey also, we were all always overfed postpartum, especially the first 3 months. And then how I then took nutrition counseling to ensure that I wasn't overeating and I was still eating the right amount of macros, focusing on nutrition, all. And today we want, all our listeners and viewers to understand the importance of postpartum nutrition, from supplementation to macro calculation. And we actually have a whole lot of questions that have been sent across. And we're like, okay, who better than Shona Prabhu? Because mom of 2 and a nutrition coach for over a decade now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And you have your clinic, Nutrify My Diet. It's such a
Yes.
self-explanatory thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so excited. We have, like I said, we have a bunch of questions, but we'll, from our viewers. But
Mhm.
before that, I have a few things that I want to address,
Sure.
and we can go one by one.
Yeah.
Right. So you have 2 now?
Yes.
And
2.
4 and 1.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
4
like
and
back
1.
to back.
Yeah, but I had my kids late, so had to have
You
them
can't-
back
you
to back.
couldn't have your kids later than me, I'm sure. No.
Yeah, but a little earlier. But I think it's easier to, you're in that phase where you're not completely out of that mommy routine. So
Yeah.
it's easier when the second one, I think, comes in, rather than once you get into that comfort zone
Yeah.
and your child's independent and then the next one comes in, you have to reset a bit. So I think these years are a little tough, but I think what
It'll
we've heard is
pass.
they'll pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you look gorgeous. I mean, you don't even look like you had your second one just a year ago. You know that? You look so fresh, your skin, your hair. Of course,
You
you
prefer
have
my
to,
diet.
you have to walk
I-
the talk. I
Yes.
understand.
Yeah. Well, I think just subconsciously, the people you help also look up to you for
Yeah.
that, right? It's not something you say, but it's subconscious. And I think being in this profession, it just naturally comes, I guess. But thank you for the
Fantastic.
compliment.
Yeah. But now let's share
Yes.
with the world, right? So let's start with, like, the most often asked is, how do I eat postpartum? And primarily because we're just fed a lot of food
Mhm.
by our family members, right?
Yes.
And I think it's fine. I mean, every culture has their own way of doing this. It's great. It's some really yummy food that you're fed as well. But how does one plan postpartum nutrition from a macro standpoint, micro standpoint? What are some must-haves, and what are certain things that you think we can avoid despite the family saying eat?
Yeah. All right. So, the first thing is, because moms don't have as much time on their hands, right? There's like a lot happening just after the baby is born. One is, keep snacks handy. That's something that you can just grab and go, or I'd say have like a smoothie, with you, have some laddus or energy bars, keep meals or yogurts, things that are just handy to eat. But when you're planning your macros, um, having at least 350 to 500 calories in excess to what the general calorie intake should be, because lactating moms need slightly more. Right? So now 350 to 500 calories would kind of be like one small meal, not a snack. It would be a meal. And most breastfeeding moms would tend to feel hungrier. So they would need another mini meal. But if they want to make it as 2 different snacks, that's also fine. But the amount of calories they need would be like, say, eating 3 chapatis and some dal and sabzi. That's how much it would actually come up to
extra,
extra.
right? So
Okay, yeah.
basically, you're saying if my calorie intake was 1,500, otherwise,
Yeah.
now I'm eating 2,000 calories,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But now also tell us, where should that extra calories come from, right? In the sense, do we still focus on more protein? Are we talking about, a lot of good fat? Are we talking about complex carbs? Like, how do we kind of break it down? Because typically a lot of us are fed a lot of ghee and a lot of,
Yeah.
certain types of
I would
foods.
say like generally just balance it together. Like do eat more protein, have a little more carbs and fats. Don't just focus on one nutrient. Okay, you can break that down. And the other bit is also to focus on some micronutrients. So breastfeeding moms do need additional vitamin D. They definitely need calcium. There's B12 and iron. Now with B12 and iron,
Yeah.
D, there's anyway a lot of deficiencies, in the country. So lactating moms definitely need more of these. And good fats, especially DHA, which is the
Correct.
one, that's associated with better brain health and all of it.
Correct.
So these are the main nutrients that we need to focus on. Not all of them you get very easily through foods. So
Yeah.
some of them might need, you need to be specific about those. Like, for example, DHA, you get from mostly, fish,
Yeah.
seafood and
Yeah.
all of that. But you'd also get them from eating, nuts, and there are fats in that. So you'd prioritize that. B12 is not very easily available in vegetarian food sources. It could be mostly dairy and non-veg again. So really depending on, your diet preference, you'd have to figure out, okay, where am I really getting these sources from? Like, again, vitamin D is really more from the sun than food. So if you have been deficient in the past, then you need to make some time for sunlight or consider supplements.
Yeah. Now, very quickly, just break down what you did in the last 1 year, right?
Okay.
It'll be interesting for people to hear, how did a nutrition coach as a mom worked her food, like 3 meals or 4 meals? How did you break it down?
Yeah, with my second one, I was really ravenous because compared to my first one, he was allergic to my milk. So I couldn't breastfeed him beyond 2 months. So with the second one, I think he's made up for what the first one couldn't have. So I would have my 3, main meals, but every meal would have like a good quality protein source. It would have a good portion of vegetables, and it would have some complex carb in it. So, which means because I'm from Mangalore and we eat more seafood, it would be red rice, it would be like fish or chicken or maybe some red meat and a good portion of vegetables. Early in the pregnancy, postpartum, I wouldn't feel like eating cold food. So most of the things would be warm. So I wouldn't really be drawn to salads or, those kind of foods. But those would be like lunch and dinner. I might even just repeat it because I didn't have help to, I didn't have a cook separately. I'd make my meals. Or it would be like one pot meals where all these 3 are just thrown in together. So even if it was things like, pasta, vegetables, and meat, I just put them all together and cook in one pot. So I do that. But breastfeeding also happens a lot at night, right? And that time, you'd wake up maybe at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, feeling really hungry. Now, at that point, you can go a little haywire because if you don't have healthy snacks on hand, right? So I'd always have banana and nuts, or I'd have an energy bar just kept, because at that time you want something. I think most women might, find themselves in a similar position that you really crave something. You want something quick, fast. There's no time to sit and make something.
Absolutely.
You're already so drained out. So, or even a sandwich. Like, the good part is now on Swiggy and Instamart and these forums, you do get like better quality bread. So even if you have to just wrap up something quick, it's possible, like bread and eggs, chapati with peanut butter. I do snacks like that and include fruits.
And a lot of hydration.
And drink like a fish. That's what my pediatric...
Drink water like a fish.
Yes.
But tell me about protein, because you are a non-vegetarian and I know you can resolve protein needs like that.
Yes.
But a lot of women also asked me about protein shake, right? I did consume, my protein shakes. Yes. What are your thoughts on that?
when you can't meet it naturally through the diet,
Yeah.
I'd definitely recommend one. Even for postpartum women that come to us for nutrition,
Yes.
consultation, we evaluate how much protein they're getting in. And if they're not able to meet it naturally, though they'd want to first, make sure they get everything natural. And we understand that is what we focus on. But beyond that, if they're still, on a deficit for protein, then we encourage them to have a protein powder. And when we do that, whether it is whey or whether it is plant-based, we just want to work with clean products, right?
Correct.
That don't have
Absolutely.
artificial sweeteners and additives. But having the protein would do more good than not having the protein.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of healing, tissue repair, getting back your muscle strength,
Yes.
protein does a lot of that. And if you're just eating dals and chanas and maybe some curd, and that's not going to cut it. But not when your requirement for the body is much more.
Absolutely. Because a lot of women are afraid of consuming, like protein shakes, like it's packaged, right? It's not.
And the thing is, on the protein labels or products, they wouldn't say I've not come across any that says it is safe for pregnancy.
Yeah.
Or safe for postpartum.
Yeah.
I guess they're just playing it safe. But obviously without that, that.
Yeah, because if you look at, I remember, looking up for protein powders in the US and stuff, because when my sister was visiting, I would probably tell her to bring, because I was not sure also at that point. They make specific protein powders for postpartum. I mean, like you said, it'll probably be less emulsifiers and so on and so forth. But we don't have that. But if you are able to read a label and if you can, seek guidance from a nutritionist, I'm sure we're making some good brands of protein powders right here that can be consumed. So you're basically saying it's very safe if you're consuming the right.
Yes, if you're meeting the deficiency that you might have.
Taking a quick break to thank our sponsor of this episode, Philips Avent, the breast pump that has made pumping super duper comfortable. Yes, it's portable. It's actually 3x faster in pumping and 2x lighter in weight. Basically, made pumping very, very convenient for all new moms. Let's talk about supplements.
Mm-hmm.
What are the supplements that a postpartum woman has to take? Because I have a lot of questions about calcium, about, iron and vitamin D and all of those. So what are some, of course, I know this is subject to, your tests and what your doctor has suggested, but there will be some supplements which has to be taken, non-negotiable.
Yeah. So those would be calcium and iron, and also some, omega-3, depending on whether you're getting enough natural sources or not. But with calcium, a lot is taken from the mother's reserves.
Yeah.
Right. So through pregnancy and even postpartum, especially if you're breastfeeding. Right. So calcium, until you're breastfeeding, you need to be, on calcium supplements. Iron also is important. Again, because there could be a lot of, blood loss that has happened and you're healing from that. Some women get their period, though they're breastfeeding, much earlier.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So then you're, you're making sure that you're getting iron for that as well. But just with iron, we might not always need to be on a very high dose if your iron levels or hemoglobin levels are good post, delivery. So you might just need like a small top-up dose. Because sometimes what I've also noticed is just recently we had a blood, report come in for someone who was postpartum and their iron and ferritin levels had gone over the range. And that could be dangerous too. So it's good to check in, with your levels when you're taking supplements before and even after, just to see what the supplement is doing to your levels, and then you can adjust it accordingly.
Correct.
And fats are very important for, the baby's brain development and just your own recovery in terms of it being anti-inflammatory. So DHA is that, fat which you can supplement. For vegetarians, it would be through the algae source.
Yeah.
Right. It's the vegan one, and non-vegetarians can get it through dairy, but vitamin D also. Good to be on a, maintenance dose.
Yes. Yeah. I remember doing a lot of avocados during, it was easy for me to source it. when you have friends, Chickmangalore and Coog and
Yeah,
etc., who just
yeah.
supply you
I
free
also get like
avocados.
a bag that I'm just coming in, and then you don't know what to do with so many at a time. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good food.
That's a good food. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. I think a lot of people don't even think about foods like that.
Yeah.
Oats. I felt like oats helped me a lot with lactation.
Even methi.
Yes.
I remember in my first, pregnancy, because I wasn't really breastfeeding also, I didn't have that. But with my second one, we're having something called methi porridge, and it has coconut milk, some rice. That itself would be like one of those mini meals that I was talking about.
Exactly. Like a
But,
bowl, like
yes.
a smoothie bowl with all this,
Yeah.
all your nuts and like.
Yeah, you can add in the nuts, but it mainly had coconut milk, rice, methi seeds that you kind of
Yeah.
sprout. But yeah, all of these are, so like you were saying, oats really helped you. Anything else that, from your own experience?
I don't, I mean, it's only been 5 years. I don't
Yeah.
remember too much, but I at one point, I think I told my mom, I think you need to stop feeding me what you're feeding me, because she was just like doing a lot of carbs, and I felt like I didn't need it so much. And then I figured a lot it myself, and then I, of course, did nutrition counseling, but I replaced, like I said, oats and avo and methi and all, but I did not overeat.
Yeah.
And then I was already 10 kg overweight. Weight didn't bother me. And of course, I coming to my next question, is it safe for mothers to focus on weight loss within the first 3-4 months of postpartum?
I would say post the 3-4 months is a better approach to take rather than in the first, 3-4 months, because in the first 3-4 months, you should focus on healing and recovery.
Exactly.
Right. And that doesn't mean overeating with healing and recovery, but it just means whatever we, discussed about the nutrients that you need to keep in mind, get those extra calories in. That should be the first focus. And post 3-4 months, you can definitely consider, slowly and steadily getting back to your pre-partum weight.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
going to take time. I think I took
Yes.
easily over a year. I was so slow with my approach.
Yeah, same
I
here.
took-
And it's the best approach to take. I would say the most sound one, because you can achieve your goals slow and steady. If you're doing anything crash, you can't holistically,
Approach
meet
it.
it. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And also for women who do not breastfeed, right?
Mhm.
Even for them, I personally don't think it's important to even speed up that process, because you still have to work on healing, and you still have
Yes.
to have your midnight feeds, even if you're not breastfeeding. There's
Yes.
formula and all of that.
Yeah.
So I personally would not, tell anyone to focus on weight loss, not in the first 6 months, maybe even if it's after a year. It's
Yeah, I would say focus on your fitness first, because when
Just
you do that,
recovery. Yeah.
when you focus on your fitness and recovery, like the weight part of it will automatically take care of itself.
Yeah.
You'll slowly get back into better health. You'll want to do more things. And a lot of times when people start to get into better fitness,
Yeah.
they want to eat better also.
Okay.
So
Exactly.
it kind of goes hand in hand. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you just have to enjoy the process, right? And not
Yes.
like rush into anything, because today a lot of women are just focusing on weight loss postpartum, and
Yeah.
it bothers me. But tell me about this. How does poor nutrition, disturb the whole postpartum mood? Because you're already going through a lot physically, mentally, emotionally,
Yeah.
and then you're going to try and curb your nutrition to some extent, figuring things out on your own. It really bothers your postpartum recovery, right?
Yes, it can, especially with respect to your mood, because you could be like, if you're not eating well or you're under eating at that point,
Yeah.
not under eating, but really not focusing on nutrient dense foods can affect your mood. So
Yeah.
you're already low, you're fatigued, and your emotional stability, like your brain requires certain, nutrients to function well on. And again, DHA, B12, these are foods that the brain requires. So if you focus on making sure you get these plus iron, your mood will be better. You will have more energy. You'd have time to take care of yourself, do those little chores for yourself and your baby,
Yeah.
well. So by undernutrition, that's one thing with respect to your mood, but it can also then affect the quality of your breast milk, right?
Mm-mm.
Because there's some nutrients that it can't take from your mother's reserve.
Yeah.
Again, it may be repetitive when we're saying, B12 and iron and D, but you need these, um, you need your the mother to eat these so that it can pass on to the breast milk and it will not draw from maternal reserves.
Correct. And why do some of the moms go through a lot of digestive issues during postpartum?
It's just the hormonal shift that's happening, and we don't move as much. Like, for instance, if you've had a C-section, maybe you'd be advised to just take it a little easy for the first 6 weeks. And some women are, their recovery might not be as planned. So just generally with the hormonal shift and lower movement, not talking about what you do physically, lifting your baby and, all of those things, but generally just the walking and the aerobic steps that you would have otherwise gotten, they're much lesser. So that affects digestion. So you would feel constipated, right? And just because of the hormonal changes happening, then bloating and all of that are just part of it. So you can relieve that a little bit by eating, more fiber-rich foods. You can drink water that Somph water, Ajwain water, Jeera water, just to help more with digestion and better digestive health. So there are some remedies to, tackle those symptoms if you have. Yeah.
Correct. And also, I think the whole eating on time rule applies even now. I know your sleep is all over the place, and everyone's like trying to focus on sleep, which is good, but the eating on time makes a big difference, right? Like if you have a clock, at what time you want to eat, like you have a feeding schedule. To have an eating schedule makes a big difference, right?
It can, if you can make it work to eat on time, that it will put you in a rhythm for sure. But have you noticed, like, mostly when you just sit down to eat, your baby cries? It always sort of coincides with the fact that you can't sit and eat peacefully. There's something that's happened that interrupts that eating time. So while it's okay if you have enough help at home and you can prioritize your eating times, I'd say go for it. If you can't, then just make sure that you're eating and not just keeping being long hours on an empty stomach, because then you will reach out for sugary, unhealthy foods, like,
exactly,
and then that's the problem. That
so there was one of this question from one of our viewers, which is there a connection between low milk supply and postpartum bleeding?
No, I don't think so. They're always hand in hand. So low milk supply could be there could be different reasons for it. But when you say bleeding, do you mean like starting your period again?
Yes.
Not really, because some women just get their period first and they continue to breastfeed well through their, some of them, have low milk supply initially, but they get their period much later.
Right.
So it's not really a direct relationship.
Right. Then there was a question about what is a good formula brand that you as a nutrition coach would recommend
for the babies, right?
Yes.
I've heard Aptimal. That's a low sugar brand. But to be extremely honest, I think a pediatric nutritionist would be able to give you a better insight on it.
Yeah.
Because when I fed my first one formula, he was on a soya-based formula, not even a milk-based formula.
Lactose intolerant,
yes.
You said.
With the second one, he refuses to have any formula feed. So I haven't really been in touch with this, but I know from other mums that I've been listening to that Aptimal is a brand that doesn't have as much added sugars, because otherwise a lot of these formulas do have added sugars in them.
So again, back to reading the label.
Yes.
Even for...
It's such a practical tool. Like, just turn the packet, turn your box, and you'll get a lot of information that you won't see on the front.
But it's so sad that formulas have to have added sugars.
Yeah, I know. They see, like, I think it boils down to maybe how that formula would taste at the end of it, because babies have to drink it. Though breast milk isn't like as sweet. It is naturally a little sweet, but it's the sad bit of it. Yeah, that's what I, got to know from other mums, that
Yeah.
this is one brand.
Yeah. So then the word of caution is that look at the label
Yes.
and talk to your pediatric
Yes.
nutritionist,
Yeah.
right? And before we close, right, would you, not as a nutrition coach, but as a mom, recommend nutrition help for new moms? Because a lot of them have a lot of questions on nutrition. They want to eat better. They want to eat right. They want to eat so that they don't put on too much postpartum
Yeah.
weight and want to fuel their baby well. But at the same time, don't want to take nutrition help, from a qualified nutritionist. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I would certainly advise them to come in for a consultation, right?
Yeah.
Whether it is long-term engagement
Short-term.
or short-term, that's fine. But at least come in for a consultation, because yes, there's so many questions about what to eat, what not to eat. And you're getting advice every day from 5 other people about, what exactly you can and cannot eat. So I'd say just to make sure that you have the right information,
Correct.
right? Come in for a consultation. And it doesn't have to be, a lot of women tend to avoid that because they feel, okay, it might be too strict, it might be too restrictive. I don't have enough time to focus on myself and the baby, and this may be added pressure.
Yeah.
And parents might, or extended family might just be like, it's, you'd just be getting a restrictive plan, and it's not really maybe you'd be under eating, or all of those that they can't put in. So there are different reasons why women don't come in, but I would say it generally helps. The ones who have come in, it's really been helpful.
Yeah. No, I personally had nutrition counseling sorted for myself, and this wasn't with the goal of weight loss. It was just with the goal of not overeating, eating the right food, but not overeating.
Yeah, but sleeping better whenever you can, having just good energy, having better moods, and your gut issues.
Exactly.
All of that. So that's where we focus and help postpartum women.
So we always leave our, listeners with cheat sheet, with some information that they can kind of keep with them, not just listen. So what we would love for you to do for us, Shona, is probably give us a cheat sheet of, how you broke down those meals, right? Like what could, your first meal, second meal, third meal, fourth meal look like in terms of how balanced, and what are some of the supplements that they can ensure that they have, with, of course, consultation and blood work and etc.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's possible.
Sure. Yes.
Awesome. So then in our description, we will put a cheat sheet.
All right.
By Shona Prabhu, and that can make women's life easier postpartum nutrition, or probably just come to you.
Yeah, the latter would be more individualized, but I'd love to do the cheat.
Yeah. Always personalized, individualized, but this can be a good start where people can at least be like, oh yeah, you know what, this is probably what I'm not doing, and this is what I need to, and one step towards a better plan.
Yes.
Yeah. But thank you so much for doing this with us, because I just feel like new moms need all the help, all the hand holding in whatever way possible. And this is one way of doing it through nutrition.
Thank you for inviting me, Shweta. Yeah.